Today we are talking about something that, is kind of controversial because I talk about saving time, and can we really save time? Not really. It's not even a real thing. It's a way that we organize energy, right? That's what time is. However, there are things that we can do so that we can yield more energy to be more productive with how we spend our moments. So, what I want to do today is I want to do a deep dive on some of the ways that I think about time when it comes to running a practice without staff. Also, know that I'm speaking as an entrepreneur who runs a very successful marketing company. So I'm doing that. I'm running a team. I'm running a practice. I've got two kids on their way out the door. Um, I'm show up at the gym every day. Like I'm doing all of the same things, the same load that you have if you're watching wherever you're watching this. So today I want to offer to you what I've found work really well for me. And have it be like the pasta, you throw it on the wall. If it sticks, cool. If it doesn't, that's cool too. Um, if we don't already know each other, I will say that I have screwed up a lot of stuff, and I figured out solutions that work really well. And I love nothing more than sharing the solutions that I've discovered and seeing them working for other people too. One of the things that we do every week, and if you're one of my clients, know that I really do read these, is before we have our weekly coach calls with my clients. This is what we do with my particular clients. We send them a how's it going? We send them a form to fill out. And the form gives us an opportunity for feedback that's challenging to read, or feedback that it makes me want to do a backflip. And I gotta say that lately we've been hitting it out of the ballpark, we being my team. And the way that that's happening is where everybody's in their lane and we're each doing the thing that we need to do to move the machine forward. And the things that I need to do to move the machine forward are very different than the things that Dr. Marcy needs to move, or the things that Sheena needs to move, or even our clients, the things that you guys need to move. So what I want to do today is I want to trigger some creativity, and I want to trigger a different way of thinking about time when it comes to serving great care. So, the first thing I always start with is, who is your perfect practice member? And are you checking the boxes on the way that you want to serve this person? For example, one of the things that's really important in my practice is that we cluster book. Cluster booking essentially means that I wouldn't schedule one person at 1:05 and the next person to come at 1:45, because I have 5 minute spots for each person. I would schedule 1:05, 1:10, 1:15, 1:20, and then I would schedule another group of people at 2:15, 2:20, 2:25. And all of the scheduling programs out there have the option. It's called Make Me Look Busy, where they'll only give options next to another person on the schedule. That's called cluster booking. And what I find is, if I'm really smart with my schedule, I have a lot of people come in at once so that it's really busy and fun and energetic. And then it gets quiet for me to kind of come up and catch my breath. And then it gets really busy and chaotic again. I used to take the times that it was paused and I would come up and catch my breath. I used to take that as time to either do an initial consultation or have an online meeting. And what I found, especially lately, is I really need that time for nothing at all. However, what will happen is, if I have Barb coming in at 1 and Janet coming in at 1:05 and John coming in at 1:10 and Timmy's coming in at 1:15, if Timmy's a chatter, if he likes to tell me all about it, and Barb and John and I forget what the other person's, Janet, have already left, Timmy's going to stand there until 1:50, 1:55 telling me all about it, because he's got me all to himself. So it's really important that I protect myself and I have ways to get out of that moment. If you don't already have a copy of my book, Staffless, I go over I actually found out yesterday that this is still on the bestseller list. It's actually on 2 of the top 100 bestseller lists on Amazon, which I think is crazy cool. So if you don't already have a copy of this, we're actually going to be we're giving a free copy of it away this week, where you can download the Kindle version of it. I just ask you to leave us a review. So that's coming to you. But in here, I go over what are those ways that you can eloquently remove yourself from the Timmy that wants to tell you all about it? And it might be the kind of thing where you know that Timmy's coming in, you know that Timmy has a tendency to chat, so you set a timer on your phone, and the timer goes off 10 minutes into that appointment, and you say, Timmy, I'm sorry, I gotta grab my phone right now. I'll see you the next time. In my office, the way that it's set up, I don't have a private office to walk into. I don't even have a desk. I have what my computer used to sit on. Now I just bring my iPad to the office, and it's totally open. So I have to be really creative with the way that I schedule and the way that I use the tools that I write about in here to get out of that moment. Because otherwise, you guys, the time gets wasted, if that's such a thing. So I also want to share with you one of our most popular tools in all of Staffless Practice Academy. So this is called the time map. And if you guys go to gostaffless.com/time, there's a training here where I talk about what to do. I also give you an opportunity to connect with me if you want to spend 15 minutes in my Zoom telling me what you come up with your time map. And then there's a link to this template here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. So the idea with a time map is, and I just asked one of our team members to do this week because we all get to a place where we start dropping stuff. If we get overwhelmed, especially on my team, if one of my team members gets overwhelmed and they start dropping stuff, that's my calling to step in and say, how can I be better support? How can I better support this team member? Because we all want the same outcome, right? We want to give great service to whether it's our practice members or our clients. So we are actually playing with this with one of our team members this week. And the idea is for a few days, you do a time study. You write down every single thing that you did. You get down to the nitty gritty. If you swept the floor, you put sweep the floor. If you get the mail, you write get the mail. If you were adjusting practice members or seeing PT clients or whatever it is, you put it on this list and you do this for 3 days. You do a time study for 3 days. I'm giving you the different like the Excel sheet that you just kind of type into. And then after the 3 days, this is the kind of thing that I like to write out. I wouldn't want to do this in an Excel spreadsheet. I would probably bring a notebook like this to the office with me, and I'd say 1 to 1:15 did live stream, 1:15 to 1:30, and I might retroactively do it. I might go back to it, but I would definitely do this with pen to paper. And then I'm going to walk away from it. I'm going to put my pen down, or I'm going to turn my computer off. I'm going to go live my life for a few hours, and I'm going to come back to it, and I'm going to look at what patterns do I see. If you follow this to a T, you're also adding in here the amount of money you would pay somebody to do that thing for you, right? So if it's adjusting my practice members, it's going to be about $800 an hour. That's how valuable that is to me. If it's getting the mail, it's probably $20 an hour, right? So I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to take a peek at it, and I'm going to look at the patterns that I see. And I'm going to say, wow, I'm doing a lot of $20 an hour items. I'm doing some of my high dollar items, but not enough of them. And I'm going to create some change. When I'm ready to create some change, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to create a time map for myself. The idea with this is that you do it quarterly and you have somebody holding you accountable to it. In my world, it's my coach. Hopefully, if you're one of my clients, I'm the one that's looking at this and we're redoing this quarterly. So the time map is going to help you cluster book. It's going to help you give energy signatures to the different types of of time that you spend, right? So one type of time might be my service hours. Another type of time might be my me time, the time that nobody has access to me. I am off limits. Another type of time might be what we call my diamond time, where it's the time that the building could be falling down around me. I'm still focused on the task at hand. So, and then of course, there's always family time. So I invite you to spend some time on this exercise, no pun intended. Again, it's gostaffless.com/time, and that'll help you get organized around time. I gave you a blank template in 30-minute increments, also in 15-minute increments, and then I gave you a sample of my 30-minute schedule, and I guess I gave you a couple of samples on this one, so enjoy that. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is our offers. So I just put my gum out. If we get really clear on who our perfect practice member is, and for me, it's that 30-something mom with the time, energy, and resources to give more and do more for her family, right? And if I'm super clear on who she is, I'm super clear on the problem that I'm solving for her, it's pretty easy for me to then make a plan for her. And the plan is going to look something like, the first time she hears about me, what do I want her to see? What do I want her to hear? And what do I want her to read? When she comes for her first experience with me, what do I want her to see? What do I want her to experience? And what do I want her to read? Hear is another one. See, hear, all of the senses as much as we can. When she commits to the first part of the life cycle of my practice, same thing. What do I want her to see, hear, taste, touch, hear? What is it? Taste, touch, sight, sound, smell. What do I want in all of that? You can even go there with smell. If you're an aromatherapy person and you're talking money with a practice member and you want to talk to them about your year-long care plan, and where some people pay $10,000 for the year of care, don't you know that I'm going to go over and put some orange oil in the diffuser, right? I'm going to put something, or abundance oil, something that's very bright and clears the mind when it comes to creating or critical thinking, or challenging people in their comfort zones, right? You can absolutely use all of the senses with these things. So when it comes to, this is what we call the flywheel system. There are points along the way with the perfect practice member where we put things in front of them. Sometimes it's a little bit of time and a little bit of money that's being spent. Sometimes it's a big investment or a big ask, whether they're spending an hour at our office or they're investing $10,000 in a year of care. And sometimes it's completely free and it's all automated. If we can take a couple of hours and plan this and automate as much of it as possible, you're going to realize so much more time in the day. I'm going to give you a couple of visuals for my visual learners so that you're with me on what I'm talking about. That's really important to me. I think I'm going to pivot to that now. So let's do that. So, and you guys, if you've been around for a while, I know that it's kind of like I'm drilling this and drilling this and drilling this, but it's that important to get. Okay. So here's the flywheel, and the first offer is usually free, and it's maybe a little bit of time. The second offer might cost a little bit of money and a little bit more time. So my first offer might be, they go to a landing page, they see a QR code on Facebook, they go to a landing page, they give me their name, their email, their phone number. I email them a PDF on the 10 things you want to do after you have your baby. Whatever, right? That's just an example. And then I'll send them another email in a couple of days, and maybe I'll do a voicemail drop. And then a week later, I'll send them an opportunity to jump into my telehealth room and get to know me a little bit. So that would be what this would look like for somebody who's brand new in this, in my world, under my umbrella, right? If they just found out about me, imagine the time that could save me, so that I know that they're being nurtured if they click on whatever it is that I put out there. And then maybe my third offer, my second offer is a little bit more money, a little bit more time. I'm nurturing them a little little bit deeper. So the idea with this is that when they go from offer one to offer two, we're nurturing for the second offer. And we're going to go into what that looks like in a minute. I do want to pivot and say one thing. The third most important thing that you can do, that I can do for my office. So number one is time structure. Number two is flywheel. Number three in my world is to never, ever, ever, ever answer my phone. The pushback that people say to me about not answering the phone is, well, they're going to call the next person on the list. And what I'm going to say is that A, that's not true, because if they're coming from the right place, if they've been referred to you or they read the right words at the right time, they know that you are the only game in town to solve the problem that they need solved. And if they call you, which they don't want to do, they don't want to be calling you, they want to text you because it takes a lot more energy and a lot less energy and a lot less time. They're going to text you, or they may call you and they're immediately going to get a text that says, hey, it's Dr. Marcy. I see that you're calling me. Text is the best way to get the help that you're looking for. How can we help you? What can we do for you? That's if I answer, I can't even imagine at this point in the game if I was answering the phone for my practice or having somebody answer the phone for me. There's no phone to answer, you guys. They call, they get a text. The text conversation starts there. That's how they schedule. That's how they ask for super bills. That's how they do all of it. The only time that this is different is when it comes to insurance, because insurance is loaded. There are usually a lot of questions involved, and it does need to be nurtured. It does need the whole conversation. But everything else, if I answer the phone, I'm in trouble, and I spend a whole lot of time listening to the story. Okay. If you do answer the phone, or if you've got Barb at your front desk answering the phone, or John, or whatever, there are ways for you to politely remove yourself from the conversation so that a 1-minute conversation doesn't turn into a 10-minute conversation. And again, this is all listed out in my book. Like, how do you get out of that conversation? Okay. I want to go to one more visual for my visual learners on this. So this again is all about honoring the time in the practice. We're going to come to this in a minute. This is a really cool tool called Miro, M-I-R-O. And basically what it does is it allows you to use Post-its to kind of organize your thoughts on a project. And I was on a client call this morning, and the client was challenging me to kind of write out with her the stages of the flywheel for her perfect practice member. I want to give you the bird's eye view visual of the lead magnet system, like the flywheel system here. And then we're going to break it down what this can look like for your practice. Okay. So the idea is, here's the umbrella. Everybody sees that yellow umbrella. And the idea is you're standing in your community, and maybe it's raining or maybe the sun's shining on you and you're standing under the umbrella. And what you want is you want all of the people in your community who are your perfect practice member to come stand under the umbrella with you. You want them to stand under there because when they're standing under there, you can tell them the story about how you can solve their problem. You can tell them the story about how perfect their body is and how innately driven it is. You can tell them the story about how your practice is the only option to get what they're looking for in the way that they're looking for it, as long as they're under your umbrella. If they walk away from your umbrella, you don't have them captured, right? So how do they get under your umbrella? Maybe you have a QR code, maybe you're on Facebook or Instagram and you're doing reels, maybe you've got a great email sequence, whatever it might be. You might have referrals, which are my number one time saver for growing a practice, is have really healthy referral relationships in the community, or maybe you're even doing ads. If they are under the umbrella and they call the office, what are they hearing you say? If they are under the umbrella and they're reading your email, what are they reading you say? What's the call to action? One call to action, one place to click in the email. Is the email packed with so much information that it goes to spam, or they send it to they go to the next email in their inbox? It's repetition. It's simple 3-4 word email sequences. That's it, you guys. No more than that. More than that is too much burden on their brain. So what are you giving them while they're standing under this umbrella? The more you can plan this out when you're centered and you're calm and it's quiet and nobody's pulling at you and you're not looking at the phone, the more you can plan this out in that moment, the more time you're going to save and realize and practice. Okay, so here's what it's going to look like. You've got this person, right? And this person has the problem that you solve. What's the problem that you solve? The problem that I solve for my perfect practice member is she knows that there's more, but she doesn't know where to find it. She knows there's more to life and she doesn't know where to find it. She knows there's more to health and she doesn't know where to find it. She knows there's more to flexibility and she doesn't know where to find it. She knows there's more to friendships and she doesn't know where to find it. That's the problem that I solve in my practice. Okay? You're going to give them what they need. You're going to show them how to get it. When do you do what? And what's the next step in the journey for them? So the person might be a 30-something mom with the time, energy, and resources, right? You're defining your perfect practice member by going to perfect practice member on my website. Okay. And if you need that, just hit me up and I'll give it to you. What they need. Are you going to send them a voicemail and tell them what they need? Are you going to send them an email and tell them what they need? Are you going to send them a postcard and tell them what they need? How are you going to get the message of what they need in front of them with a little bit of time and a little bit of energy spent, right? And then you're going to give them a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And you're asking the question, if it was you and you were them, what would be next? And then what? And then what? And you plan all of it. You plan the emails, you plan the voicemails, you plan the text messages. What's too much? What's too little? What's the cadence for your person? In my practice, it's usually like one email every couple of weeks and maybe a voicemail once a month and maybe a text a few times a year. And all of it is automated. I don't look at it. There's 52 weeks of nurturing set and ready to rock and roll while they're standing under the umbrella. And every time I'm nurturing them, I'm making them an offer to get on my schedule to learn more about my services. Okay? Imagine for a minute if this was you, if you had this in place. Imagine also being the patient or the practice member and how you just feel like, man, this person is just do. This is taken care of. I want that person doing the adjustments on my spine. I want that person taking care of my teeth. I want that person to be the person who checks my eyes for my next prescription, because look at how they're doing that thing. Okay. The next thing I'll show you is if we go to a practice suite, this is where we set up the automation. Okay, so every automation starts with something called a trigger. So say it was their birthday, or say they came in for their first visit, or say that they said yes to a QR code offer on Facebook, whatever it might be. Then you can make the choice to drop an email to them that's branded and has one place to click in it. Or you can drop a voicemail that makes it look like you called, but you didn't. Or you can send a text. You can do one right after the other. You can do one every 5 days, whatever works best for you. And that's where our coaching team comes into play. That's where we take your hand and we say, what do your people want? Let's do a deep dive on what your people want, because your people are going to want something very different than what my people want. Okay. The only other thought that I wanted to share with you is most of this stuff is systems. It's not people. And the problem that we run into way too often is we'll put a person where really a system is needed. The person is needed when it comes to the true connection. That, Dr. John, this is what we do in this office. Are you understanding it? Tell me back what we do in this office and how it's going to help you in your life. I want to hear that conversation happen. I want to make sure that you're getting the pearls of wisdom. Okay, John, who else in your family could use this thing? That's a person to person. An email or an offer for visit one can absolutely 150% be automated. That's a system. Okay, if you guys are watching this on Facebook, I'm going to hop off. Thank you for joining us today. And just drop below where you're watching this if you need more information.